Hi guys, welcome back to high yield intraday trading. So today the strategy that we are going to discuss here is called as crossover strategy. Alright, so basically we will use EMAs, that is the exponential moving average, and use their crossovers to find the trading opportunities. Alright, now before we start with, we need to keep in mind that in intraday trading, as I always say, multiple confirmations are very important. They play a very important role for us to decide if we should get into a trade or not. Yeah, so here in this case we will use three oscillators along with the EMAs. Okay, now those three oscillators are MACD, RSI and ADX. Now I really don't want to waste a valuable time by stating the full form of the oscillators. You can very well go ahead and Google it, you will find it all. I'll cover the main aspects like how to plot and use them. Okay, so before we begin with, let me take you to the trading terminal and show you how to plot all these four indicators and oscillators, and then we'll explain how to use them one after the other. Alright, so taking on to the trading terminal, this is a 5 minutes chart on Zero the Kite. Okay, now let me mention that I will plot the EMA at the end. First, let me go ahead and cover the oscillators. Okay, now first thing is MACD. How do we plot it? We go to studies, we go to MACD, we keep the parameters as default and we click on done. Okay, now this is how MACD looks like. Okay, now coming to how do we use it. So the black line you see here is called the MACD line, and the red line you see is the signal line. Now the rule says when the black line crosses the red line from below, we go long, and when the black line crosses the red line from above, we go short. Okay, now the thing to keep in mind here is the crossovers should be sharp enough. Okay, if you see this particular section, the black line has crossed the red line, but the gap between them is very less. Okay, there is not a clear gap that we see here. Okay, so we are not trading here. We trade starting from this point when we see a clear gap, when we see a sharp crossover of the red and the black line. Okay, so this is all about MACD in simple terms. Now moving on, next, the RSI. How do we plot it? We go to studies, we go to RSI, we keep the period as 14. I change the overbought to 60 and the oversold to 40. Now the reason why I changed these numbers is because it works for me. I did some research, I did some experimentations, and finally I concluded that these two are the numbers which really works good for me. Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule. Please go ahead and decide on your numbers, do some experimentations and do some research and finalize the numbers. But to be on the safer side, you can always use 60 and 40. Okay, so once we are done with the numbers, we click on done and we get RSI here. Now how do we use it? Rule says when the RSI line crosses 60, we go long, and when the RSI line comes below 40, we go short. Okay, now you see that when the RSI line crosses 60, this particular area goes gray, and when the RSI line crosses 40, this particular area goes gray. How do I do it? You go to settings, you check the show zones checkbox. Okay, now the advantage of using this checkbox is that when the RSI crosses 60, without seeing these two numbers on the right hand side, you can straight away know that yeah, this is the time when 60 is crossed and this is the time when 40 is crossed. Okay, but if you don't want it, uncheck it, that is gone. If you want it, check it, and the gray area is in. Okay, so this is how we use RSI. Now moving on to ADX. How do we plot it? We go to studies, we click on ADX, we keep all the parameters as default and we click on done. Okay, now here as you can see, the ADX consists of three lines: the green line, which is called the plus DI line, the black line, which is called the ADX line, and the red line, which is called the minus DI line. Okay, now how do we use it? Now ADX is considered as one of the most powerful oscillators to know the strength of the stock. Please note my words. ADX is always used to know the strength of the stock. ADX is never used to know the direction of the stock. Okay, so the next point is there are some values that needs to be kept in mind, like if the ADX value is 0 to 25, then the strength is weak or it has no trend at all. Okay, now if the ADX value is between 25 to 50, it's considered to be having a strong trend. Next is if the ADX value is between 50 and 75, the stock has a very strong strength. And finally, the range is 75 to 100. If we have the ADX value between 75 to 100, then it's considered to be an extremely strong strength. Okay, so these are the four ranges that we need to remember. Now these four ranges that I just mentioned is only for the black line, that is for the ADX line. Okay, so whenever the black line is above 25, you can very well take it as a strong strength or a strong trend and trade on it. Okay, now coming on to the rule. The rule says when the plus DI line, that is the green line, crosses the minus DI line, that is the red line, from below, then we go long. Okay, and when the red line crosses the green line from below, then that is the time we go short. Okay, so this is the simple fundamental behind using ADX. Okay, now coming on to the exponential moving average. Okay, let me plot it. How do we plot it? We go to studies, we go to moving average. The first period we'll mention is 5. The field will be close and the type will be exponential. I change the color to green because I use it that way. I click on done. We get one line here. Okay, we need to plot another one. We go to studies again, we go to moving average. This time the period will be 12, the field will be close, the type will be exponential, and I click on done. Okay, so this is the complete setup that we are going to discuss here. Okay, now I have some examples here for going long and going shorts. I'll just go ahead and explain them to you. Okay, so coming on to Pidilite here. Okay, if you see here, the market started and the green line does crosses the red line, that is the 5 EMA does crosses the 12 EMA. Okay, but is it the right time to trade? My answer is no. The reason is, if you see MACD, okay, the crossover has happened, but the crossover is not clear enough. Okay, so this is the time when we are not trading. Okay, now if you compare this MACD with the stock here, okay, let me just draw it up. Okay, starting from here till here, it is a sideways market, and we do not trade sideways market. We trade only trending markets. Okay, strongly trending markets. So we are not trending in this particular time frame. Okay, now the right time to trade is this. Okay, when there is a clear difference between the MACD lines, the RSI is crossing 60, and ADX, the green line, is going up. Okay, also mark in ADX that if the green line, if you want to go long in a position, if the green line and the black line are going upwards diagonally, that means that the strength is really good. You can go long. Okay, so this is the place where I go long. Okay, I stay in the trade throughout, and when I get this red candle or maybe this red candle, you come out of the trade. Okay, so you get in at around 771, and in worst case scenarios, you come out from here, you exit the trade here, that is at 784.18. Okay, a good amount of profit. All right, so this is how the crossover should be traded on. Okay, next moving on to Wipro. The same example here. This is a sideways market starting from the time the market started till here. All right, if you see the MACD, the lines are not having any proper gap. Okay, this is not a sharp crossover. We are not able to see a gap, a visible gap between them. So the whole time from here till here is not a time when we can trade. Okay, we are not trading here. The place we are trading is here. Okay, when the MACD lines are separating themselves from each other, we are able to see the gap. The RSI is above 60. The ADX, in ADX, the green and the black lines are going up diagonally. This means it has a strong strength and we can go long. Okay, so we go long at around 545.39, let's say 546, and we stay all the way till here till we get this red candle. Okay, and we exit our positions at 551.78. Okay, so this is the second example. Now coming on to M&M Fin. Okay, this is again the same example. Just by seeing the crossovers, the MACD, the RSI and the ADX, you can very well tell what should be the entry point. Okay, the crosshair that you see here, this will be the entry point. Okay, by having a look on MACD, RSI and ADX. Okay, and the EMA crossovers. Okay, similarly in Tata Steel, the first three were for longs, Tata Steel is for short. Okay, so the crossover happened here. We can very well see the MACD, the black line is crossing the red line from upwards, so that's a confirmation that we can go short. RSI is below 40. Okay, this small red candle, this is the time when we enter the trade. All right, so RSI is below 40. The ADX, the red line and the black line are going upwards diagonally. Okay, so all this four gives us the confirmation that we can go short. Okay, so we go short at 495.45. we stay all the way till here till we get the green candle. Okay, let's say we exit the trade at 491.06, a good amount of profit for a 490 rupees stock. Okay, and lastly GAIL. Okay, now here this is again an example of sideways market. We are not trading at the starting of the market because the first 15 minutes are very volatile. If you really want to take some risk, go ahead and trade, but my suggestion would be don't trade for the first 15 minutes. All right, so if you see from here till here, it was a sideways market, so we are not trading. So we got the clear signal at this line, at this candlestick, wherein there is a clear crossover. In MACD we get a clear gap. In RSI it's below 40, and in ADX the red line and the black line are going upwards in a diagonal manner. Okay, so this is all guys. It's very simple. It's a very simple strategy but very powerful. Just make sure that all the four indicators and oscillators fall in place, and then that is the time when you are entering the trade. Okay, so just a moment, let me move it here. All right, yeah, so guys, that's about it. I mean, if this is used properly, then I can guarantee you that intraday trading will be very easy for you. So but as always, I request you all to backtest this first and then apply it onto the live market. Okay, follow the rules guys, just follow the rules and you all will be fine. All right, so before wrapping up, I would also like to clear up one thing here related to the feedbacks that I get. Some people, I mean very few of them, have stated that the strategies do not work for them. So to those guys, I would like to mention that there is no holy grail that anyone can give you for intraday trading. All right, so would request you not to look out for such things. Okay, the trading style differs for each and everyone. So what you need to realize first is what type of trader are you, and the second thing you need to decide is on the strategy that will suit you. Okay, now the things that I'm sharing here can be used individually or can be used in combination. So the overall strategy, the final strategy that will make you successful depends on your preparation and how well you combine these things that are being discussed in my videos. Alright, you need to figure out the combination of the indicators and oscillators that will work for you. Alright, so having that said, let me sign off for now. Also, if you have not joined my Discord channel, then please join in. I will share the link in the description section, and would request you all to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video. Thank you so much for all your time. See ya. Bye bye.